You've seen it, right? AI can speak English with this incredible fluency. But what if I told you that you could copy its exact method to transform your own English skills? Well, today, we're going to break down how to stop studying English and start absorbing it, just like a machine.
So, how does it do it? What's the secret sauce? I can tell you right now, the answer has absolutely nothing to do with what you probably spent years learning in school.
And here it is. This is the big secret. An AI doesn't sit there memorizing grammar tables or flipping through vocabulary flashcards. Nope, it does something way more natural and honestly way more powerful. It just takes in a massive, almost unbelievable amount of real-world language. It absorbs input.
So this kind of brings us to a fork in the road. There are really two fundamental ways you can learn a language. There's the traditional rule-based way, and then there's this new AI-powered input-based method. On one side, you've got rule-based learning, and this is probably what you're used to, right? Studying tenses, memorizing phrasal verbs, all that technical stuff. But on the other side, you've got input-based learning, which is all about just absorbing the language from real sources, the same way an AI does.
Okay, so what's so wrong with the old way? I mean, it seems logical, right? Well, the problem is that English is messy. It's really messy. Just think about the present continuous tense. Your teacher probably told you it's for actions happening right now, but then you hear native speakers say things like, "I'm meeting Sarah for lunch tomorrow." Wait, that's the future. Or, "He's always losing his keys." That's a complaint. See, the rules start to fall apart almost immediately.
And this leads to a really dangerous trap. A lot of courses, to make things easier, they teach this clean, simplified version of the language. And you feel like you're making progress with these simple rules. But the reality is, as this quote says, you're learning simplified English, not real English. And that leaves you totally unprepared when you actually try to talk to someone.
So if rules are the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's all about the power of input. And this is a secret that's shared by two very different groups: the most advanced AI on the planet and every single one of us when we were kids.
Just think about it for a second. An AI is fed mountains and mountains of text and audio from the internet. And as a toddler, you were surrounded by people talking, day in and day out. So what's the one thing these two powerful learning systems have in common? Zero grammar study. Not a single textbook. It was all about massive, non-stop input.
And what do you get for all this listening and reading? What's the big prize? You develop something amazing, something I like to call a genuine superpower: language intuition. This, right here, is the real goal.
So what is language intuition? It's that gut feeling. It's when you read a sentence and you just know, yep, that sounds right, while another one just feels off. You don't have to stop and think about why. You don't need to analyze the grammar, you just feel it. And that feeling comes from having heard thousands of examples of natural English. Okay, this all sounds pretty great, right? Almost too good to be true. So if it's so effective, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, because there is a catch. There's this little psychological hurdle called the reward problem.
Look, when you study a grammar rule and you finally get it, your brain gets this little rush, a little hit of accomplishment. It's an immediate reward and it feels good. But when you just listen to a podcast for an hour or watch a movie, it can often feel like you're not doing anything. It feels unproductive, even though deep down your brain is doing some incredible learning.
So how do you stick with it? How do you keep going when you don't get that instant reward?
The solution is actually pretty simple, but it's so important. You have to make the content itself the reward. Stop listening to boring stuff just because it's good for your English. Go find podcasts, articles, and videos about things you are genuinely passionate about. The enjoyment of the topic becomes your motivation. All right, so we've got the theory down. Absorb tons of input you love. Got it. But how do we actually turn all that passive listening into active, confident speaking? Let's get into the practical side of things. But first, a quick but really, really important warning. Just talking to yourself in your room is not as effective as you might think. And why is that? Because you're practicing in a bubble. There's no feedback, no new words, no correction, you can't catch your own mistakes, so you're basically just reinforcing your current habits, good and bad.
So here's a fantastic technique to get you started: imitation. It's so simple, but it is incredibly powerful. You just listen to a native speaker say a sentence and you copy them. But here's the key. You're not just copying the words, you're copying the music of the language. The rhythm, the stress, the way their voice goes up and down. It is the perfect exercise for building that natural-sounding flow.
And for a more advanced method, why not practice with the master itself? Chatting with an AI can be a game changer.
You get fluent, perfect English in real time. You can have a real back-and-forth conversation. And maybe the best part, you can ask for corrections or explanations anytime you want. It's like having a patient, perfect practice partner available 24/7. And now for the final and maybe the most important piece of advice for when you practice. Are you ready? Forget the rules. Seriously, stop trying to build sentences in your head based on grammar tables. Just trust the intuition that you've been building. Focus on getting your idea across and just speaking. Let it flow naturally.
So really, the choice is yours. You can keep studying simplified rules that only work half the time, or you can start learning like the most powerful language models on the planet. The only question left is, are you ready to stop studying and start absorbing?